ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Tuesday, November 19th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coming up today, we're going to hear highlights from Coach Huff's presser earlier this afternoon. Also, we'll get your text in, of course, and go over everything that's happening with the Thundering Herd. We've got baseball to talk about. We've got softball as well, and some good news out of the basketball side of things. So all of that's coming up. Looking forward to talking to you today. We are still waiting right now. I think this is, are we like a full weekend here now? At least. We're waiting to figure out what's going to happen in regards to the WVSSAC football playoffs. We still don't know. And it's with the Supreme Court right now. We don't know. And I've been looking over some of the documents. I actually got a hold of some of them. And it's going to be messy. Nobody's going to be happy at the very end. There might be a few people that are happy, but it's going to be messy. And whatever the solution is, I think it's going to be a Band-Aid because this whole four-class situation is just ridiculous. It should have stayed with three classes. That's just my opinion. Three classes, that's all you need. And instead, you do this, and then it starts to fall apart when you have teams leave the classification. And, of course, the WVSSAC is basically saying, look, if you don't rule our way, that's going to weaken us as an organization. And at the end of the day, maybe you don't involve the courts, but you've involved the courts, so now you have to involve the courts, if you know what I mean. So it's interesting to read some of that. I just would like to know, when will the playoffs actually get started, and can we pull this off? Is it going to be feasible after a few weeks? If this thing gets delayed any further, because right now, I don't anticipate Friday games unless we get something right away. And then teams might be notified quickly. Okay, here's what the bracket is. You're playing. This is where you're going. This is it. It doesn't go anywhere else. Get ready. Would you go to a Sunday high school football game? That's a big question. And I know that's some of the things that have been floating out there right now. Would you go to a Sunday high school football game? If it's your kid, obviously you're going. So you're not in that conversation. But how many people are going to come out and support on a Sunday? I mean, how feasible is it? Is that the logical thing to do? Like, okay, we get the go-ahead, we're going to go with this, and we're going to do Sunday. Or will some teams try to do Fridays as well? And, again, we're still in that situation where the road team gets to pick the day. And the road team usually picks the most inconvenient day for the other team. Sometimes trying to steal the gate. You know what happens sometimes when, say, a team comes down from, I don't want to say the panhandle, but a team comes down. If it's got to travel, if there's a long travel distance, I get it. But you play on the day. I think you play on the same day. You make that travel plan. You play on the same day. Just keep it consistent. But they'll sometimes try to steal the gate. Like, for example, if Huntington High is playing on a Saturday when Marshall's home at the same time, a lot of people are going to decide, okay, I'm going to go to the Marshall game. I'm going to go to the Huntington High game. You lose out a little bit of that. So it's a mess. Absolutely a mess. And I actually don't fault the SSAC in its entirety in this one. I'm not a big fan of that four classifications. I'm not a fan of Quad A. But at the same time, this should have been thought out sooner. These challenges should have been handed down sooner. But there are some valid points. Like, for example, breach of contract. When you reclassify, schools schedule based on classification. That's why you don't see teams loading up on single A's. If you're a triple A, you're not necessarily loading up on a single A. You're going to play schools that you can benefit from point-wise because you're trying to amass enough points to get into the playoffs. And now in Quad A, you don't have to worry about it. It's just seeding that matters. And, of course, again, that also means travel. That means how expensive is it going to be to go on the road to Martinsburg? You get where I'm saying. Or how much money can we make from a home game? A lot of that is in question right now. That's been thrown up. But the whole breach of contract was interesting because the schedules were being made before you had the restructuring. And so there's an argument here. My argument is, why didn't we talk about this weeks ago? Why didn't we talk about this weeks ago? Because That would have been the perfect time to do it. Absolutely been the perfect time to do it. And we got the courts involved because, again, the WVSSAC, reclassification, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do reclassification. And there were schools that said, no, we don't want to be in that classification. And so a lot of teams bailed out of Quad A, dropping down, and then there was a domino effect. Here we are. Point systems all messed up. Huntington High got hosed. A lot of teams got hosed, but it was the point system. Here it is. You're playing 3A schools now, and you're a 4A. This is what the point system looks like. So I'm hoping we get something today. If not, it'll be Wednesday before we find out. That's the problem here. This hasn't been done quickly, and I get it. Supreme Court, they're a little busy, and we just found out just a moment ago. We're getting it in now. And we're going to learn more about it, that the WVSSAC seems to have won. It looks like coming out now, the West Virginia Supreme Court has sided with the WVSSAC. So the original football ratings plan has been restored. See, we spoke that into existence. Absolutely spoke that into existence. So it looks like what has happened here, the Supreme Court of Appeals has ruled in favor, and we knew it would happen, of the WVSSAC. All injunctions against the WVSSAC vacated. So the original ratings points formula is going to hold. So first round games are scheduled for November 22nd to 23rd. We'll get the dates and times, of course, later. And we've got the playoffs. So this is just in now. It just happened. We have got the playoffs back. So again, all injunctions against the WVSSAC have been vacated. The Supreme Court of Appeals ruling in favor of the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission. And so with the ruling, we're going with the original ratings point formula. That will be determined here soon as far as actually the breakdowns, because I know we had sort of a jumbling there with Spring Mills. So that's going to knock a couple of teams down. Here we go. Playoffs are going to be happening. And we're looking at November 22nd, 23rd. So, of course, the 22nd is going to be Friday, and the 23rd will be Saturday. So you find out today. You've got a few days to get ready. And, of course, if you've been doing your due diligence, you've been getting ready, period. Anyway, now we've got games. So we'll, of course, have those games for you right here across our Kendrick Communications stations. We've got Huntington High, we've got Cabell Midland, and we've got Spring Valley. So 1 week delay. It's over now. News just breaking. We have a playoff. It will be under the original points system, the formula that was set forth after the reclassification. And so playoffs are happening. We'll talk more about it. Get your text 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, what about the volleyball tournament? I don't know the details on that one just yet, but I would think that would matter here as well. And, of course, I already feel bad for those kids. They don't get to play at the Civic Center Coliseum. They don't get the true tournament atmosphere, and I hate that for them because of this. But that's the news that's just happened. We have found out that the Supreme Court of Appeals ruling in favor of the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission. And so playoffs will begin November 22nd and 23rd. We'll get the full breakdown. We'll know when Huntington High plays, Spring Valley, Cabell Midland, and then we'll get that to you. And, of course, we'll have those games again across our stations. Huntington High right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Quick timeout. Your text coming up. We'll hear from Coach Huff as well here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State, there is a place to shop at. The Huntington's Peddlers Mall is now open in the historic Central City District in Huntington. Over 200 vendors specializing in vintage antiques, home decor, furniture, collectibles, new mattresses, and everything in between. Peddlers Mall, located 800 14th Street West in Huntington. It's the place to go. Open 7 days a week. Visit anytime. Check out the website, peddlersmall.com, for more information. It's the Tri-State place to shop, Huntington's Peddlers Mall.
At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kitty Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Farmers Feed, for all your feed, seed, and farming needs since 1991. Grandview Flooring Outlet and Window Treatments, Gallipolis and Middleport, Ohio. Loan Central, offering loans of all types, including mortgages. Apply by phone at any of their 6 locations.
Last year's RV trip, we met a couple with the same bumper sticker. What are the odds?
Your cousin isn't a good storyteller.
He was a podiatrist, or was it a pharmacist?
You don't say.
Oh, I can't remember.
But she owns an RV protected by Progressive, and you don't. So until you get your own RV, her stories are the most interesting stories you've ever heard.
Wow, interesting.
And when you do get your own RV, save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive.
Oh, anesthesiologist. He was an anesthesiologist.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Countless victims of human trafficking walk among us, invisible until now. The Blue Campaign provides a unified voice for those who work to combat human trafficking. It's time to open our eyes. Learn what you can do by visiting dhs.gov.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Tuesday edition of the show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. If you just joined us, it's breaking. The WVSSAC has won its appeal. Supreme Court of Appeals ruling in favor of the WVSSAC. And so we're going to have high school football playoffs starting on the 22nd and 23rd. We'll get the dates and times when announced, but the playoff bracket is pretty much set now. And here's what we know. And with Spring Mills getting games back, it's shaking up the bracket just a little bit. Let's start in Quad A, and here's what we know so far. Number 1 seed is Martinsburg with a 9-1 record. It will face off against Parkersburg, the number 16 seed, with a 4-6 record. The number 2 team in Quad A is Spring Mills, also with a 9-1 record. And it will face off against number 15 Hedgesville with a 2-8 mark. Number 14 Cabell Midland will be at number 3 Jefferson. Cabell Midland's coming on strong, 5-5 mark. Jefferson's sitting at 7-3. Number 13 seed is Musselman, 2-8. Will be on the road at number 4 Wheeling Park. Park comes in with a 7-3 mark. Musselman 2-8. And now here's where I'm sure this is going to annoy a lot of people. Number 12 University at 4-6 will travel to number 5 Huntington High. Huntington High 9-1. The old rating system would have pretty much had Huntington a little higher in this, but Huntington now is dropped down. So for the first round, Huntington will host, and then after that, depending on what happens, we will find out. But Huntington is guaranteed 1 game. And that's where a lot of these injunctions were coming from, especially with the higher seeded teams protesting, hey, look, in the correct system, this is where we would have been. But Huntington High, 9-1, a 5 seed, because a lot of their games got devalued. Number 11, George Washington will face off at number 6, Hurricane. Number 10, Woodrow Wilson at number 7, Morgantown. And number 9, Washington at number 8, Parkersburg South. And again, everyone gets in Quad A because there's only 16 teams, so everybody gets in. That's your playoff. Class AAA. Number 1, Princeton, undefeated, will play host to number 16, Hampshire. Number 2, Fairmont Senior will play host to number 15, Point Pleasant. Number 3, Bridgeport, undefeated at 10-0, will play host to number 14, Robert C. Byrd. Number 4, Herbert Hoover, also undefeated, will play host to 13th seeded Elkins. Number 5, Oak Hill, will play host to number 12, Lewis County. Number 6, Nitro, will play host to number 11, Shady Spring. It'll be number 7, Spring Valley, playing host to number 10, East Fairmont. And number 8, North Marion, will face off against number 9, Ripley. That's your Class AAA bracket. Now, your Class Single A bracket. Number 1, Frankfort, undefeated, will play host to number 16, West Side. It'll be number 2, Roane County, also undefeated, taking on number 15, Chapmanville. And again, for those of you maybe not as familiar with it, the home team is the higher seed. Number 3, Independence, will play host to number 14, James Monroe. Independence 6-3, James Monroe, the road team, 7-3. Number 4, Williamstown at 8-2 will play host to 13th seeded Moorfield. It'll be number 5, Wheeling Central Catholic, playing host to number 12, Nicholas County. Number 6, Philip Barber, will play host to number 11, Clay County. It'll be number 7, Scott at 8-2, playing host to number 10, Wayne. And number 8, Bluefield, will play host. You ready for this? Number 8, Bluefield at 4-5, will play host to number 9, South Harrison at 8-2. And then finally, the Single A bracket will look like this. Number 1, Tug Valley at 10-0, will play host to 16th seeded Tulsa. It'll be number 2, Tucker County, also undefeated, playing host to number 15, East Hardy. Number 3, Wahama, the 3rd Single A team undefeated, will play host to number 14, Madonna. Number 4, Cameron, and number 13, Valley Wetzel. Number 5, Doddridge County. Number 12, Work County. Number 6, Sherman, and number 11, Tyler Consolidated. And then to round out the final 2, it'll be number 7, Pendleton County, facing off against Meadow Bridge, and number 8, Petersburg, taking on number 9, Riverview. So that's what the bracket will look like. Huntington High at 9-1, sitting at the 5 seed, and then you've got such things as a 8-2 Scott team looking pretty good, and they're a 7 seed, and you have a number 3 team like Independence at 6-3. Bluefield, an 8 seed over a 9. It's 8-9, I get it, but not fair if you're looking at how this breaks down, because Bluefield 4-5, not even a winning record, and playing host to a team that has an 8-2 mark at South Harrison. So the entirety of this bracket completely bonkers because of the point system, which was put in place and then skewed because a majority of teams that were in Class 4A dropped down, and then there are other teams that dropped down. So you have now this skewed system. But the WVSSAC, as a lot of individuals that follow this thought so, it came to pass. The Supreme Court ruling in favor of the WVSSAC. All right, that's kind of the breakdown of what it looks like. We will get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Do you think this thing's fair? The way this thing's playing out, do you think it's fair? And we're going to hear from Coach Huff as well when we continue on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated. 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road. Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the Tri-State. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Take an ordinary putty knife and scrape off the old wax ring. Place the new wax ring over the flange, then line up the bolts with the bowl and gently set in place, making sure a proper seal is created with the flange and drain. Next?
Dad?
Yeah, sweetie.
Is that an old plumbing manual?
Oh, yeah, honey.
We really need to get some new books.
Right, do you want me to stop?
Nah, I kind of want to know how it ends.
Okay. Tighten the bolts, line up the flushing valve to the opening in the top of the bowl, and secure the tank with a screwdriver and crescent wrench.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Tuesday edition of the show. Text lines 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'm looking over some of the documents now. I like some of the language here. Basically, the Supreme Court saying the WVSSAC had the authority to reclassify. Let's see. Here's the scheduling order. And again, if you just joined us, the WVSSAC has prevailed. The state Supreme, the state of West Virginia, the Supreme Court of Appeals has ruled in favor of the WVSSAC. Scheduling order on, let's see, there's no expedited relief here. I'm looking over legal docs. See, I need to be a lawyer. That's where the money's at. I should have been a lawyer, but just looking over these documents, and here's the final. Let's see. At the very end, let's see. It is beyond question that the WVSSAC had the authority to reclassify under West Virginia Code of State Rules. Upon our review, we find that the Circuit Court's entry of injunctive relief was not based on the WVSSAC's lack of authority to reclassify, but rather on the timing and manner of that reclassification. We have repeatedly held that the manner in which the WVSSAC applies its rules is not subject to judicial rule. And it also says the Circuit Court exceeded its authority in adjudicating the as-applied challenge to the WVSSAC reclassification rule. As such, a writ of prohibition is appropriate. With regard to the November 11th order, Mason County, I'm paraphrasing here, we observed that the order was issued in direct response to the Circuit Court of Wood County's improper grant of injunctive relief, but that as it may, the Circuit Court of Mason County likewise lacked the authority to interfere with the internal affairs of the WVSSAC and overreached as a matter of law by directing the WVSSAC to schedule play-in games as set forth in its order. Accordingly, we grant the WVSSAC's petition for a writ of prohibition. Based on the foregoing, we grant WVSSAC's petition for a writ of prohibition and the cases, I won't read the case numbers, and vacate the injunctions issued by the circuit courts. The impact of this ruling is to allow the WVSSAC to proceed with the football championships according to its rules and authority. So really, what they're saying is the WVSSAC has the authority, and they're reaffirming that how the WVSSAC applies its rules, not subject to judicial rule. So in other words, they're staying consistent because I think they have pointed that out time and time again. So this has been interesting so far, how this has progressed. And now it impacts a lot of schools. This is the bracket. This is pretty much the bracket. Huntington High drops down to 5th. So Huntington will get one home game, and then depending on how the bracket plays out, will be on the road. If the top 4 seeds win, Huntington will not be I think the way this is going to play out is Huntington's going to have a lot of dominoes fall for it to get a second and third home game. That's not going to happen. And I know that's where a lot of the issues were for a lot of teams. Look, this is not fair to us. We played the schedule. You change the rules right midstream, and that's where the problem was. Now, if the member institutions would have gotten together earlier on and said, look, hey, this is not what should be happening here. Maybe you could have solved this sooner. Instead, we've delayed the playoffs by a week. So that's what we've got now. Text line's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I should have been a lawyer. Been more money than broadcasting, a lot more. There's still time for me, right? I'm young. I can do that. Had a chance earlier today to hear a little bit of what Coach Huff had to say as we're getting set for Old Dominion. And a lot of things have got to happen for the Thundering Herd to walk away the East Division champion this week. But the one thing that still needs to happen with all the other outside issues, can Georgia Southern keep up with the Herd? They need to win. Can JMU win? If JMU and Georgia Southern would lose, that would pretty much seal the deal for the Herd if Marshall can beat Old Dominion. And listening to Coach Huff earlier today, he made a pretty good case for his success so far. We're at that point now where Marshall game or two away from an East Division championship. And so remember when Coach would say we're closing the gap? He talked a little bit about that today as he sort of made the case. I'm not saying he's saying, hey, look, keep me. This is why I should have the job. But he did highlight, hey, look, this is where we've been pointing to, and we're getting closer to where we've been pointing to. And he talked about when he was talking about closing the gap.
Coastal Carolina's a good football team. We hadn't beat them since we've been here. So for us to be able to keep making steps towards I know when I first got here, I used the term closing the gap. And obviously with the changes we got here, it was COVID. We got here, we were in a different conference. We made a conference switch. We started recruiting for the conference switch. Transfer portal came in. NIL came in. A lot of people outside of this building helped us close the gap in that new model. I think we're starting to see it come together. No, it's not perfect. I wish it could happen overnight. It doesn't, but I think this is, so everyone says when Coach Huff says close the gap, this is what it looks like. We're not there. We're nowhere near where we want to be, but I think we're starting to make progress. Apps beat us a bunch. Coastals beat us a bunch. I think we're starting to see what the tenure looks like. Obviously, we all would like it to happen a little bit faster, but I think we're starting to see that.
So here we are. Coach Huff has laid the case for this is what we were expecting. This is the path we had to take. We still have a ways to go, but here we are. We're closing the gap. Now, of course, the opponent this week will be as Coach Huff has said time and time again, you don't look at the record, you look at the film. And Ricky Ronnie, the head coach of the Old Dominion Monarchs, got a friendship there. All that's put aside for the game. But Coach Huff, very impressed with Old Dominion, what they've been able to do this year.
Obviously, this week continues on that journey of getting better. Really good Old Dominion football team. Again, in this conference, I don't think you can look at records. You got to watch the film. And you look at what ODU has been able to do this season. Most of their games, they've only lost by one score. So they're in all of their games. A lot of those games they were leading late in the game. So this is not a team by any means that is not having a great season or is not playing really good football. This is a team very similar to a lot of other ones, and you can put us in that category where there's been opportunities that they've just missed. It happens, you look back on some opportunities we've missed that could have changed the game one way or the other, or vice versa, opportunities we made which changed the game. So a extremely talented football team. They're tough, they're physical, they challenge you on both sides of the ball schematically.
And he talked a little bit more in depth about what they like to do, how they present themselves, starting with the offense.
Coach Ronnie being an offensive guy, they have a really good offensive system that challenges you but keeps it simple for their players and puts their players in position to make plays. They've made a lot of explosive plays throughout the year on the offensive side of the ball. They got some really good players at the skill position. Their quarterback is playing lights out right now. For him to be as young as he is from a college progression standpoint, but to be playing at such a high level, hats off to him and his coaches that are helping him. And then he's got a lot of guys that are playing well around him, making some big plays.
So what's Old Dominion look like on defense? Coach Huff highlighted that as well.
Defensively, schematically, the defensive coordinator has done a really good job there. A lot of respect for him and what they do defensively. They're physical. They challenge you. They make you block all 11 guys on the field. They change up the looks. They're aggressive with their pressures. They put people in conflict with, whether you're blocking or running or passing, whatever it is, and they play extremely hard.
This game's important. We just highlighted it. Marshall has a chance to win the East Division Championship and play for the overall league title. It's a start. It's where Marshall fans expect this team to be every year, always contending for a championship, winning the division. And so this game's important. It's important for Old Dominion. They're playing for postseason opportunity. For Marshall, playing for a little bit more itself, an East Division title. So Coach Huff knows that this game, and he highlighted that, how important this game really is.
Obviously, this is their senior day. It's a night game. Probably will be the toughest environment we've played in our conference or at our level, just because of everything that goes involved. There's no senior on that team that wants to walk off that field and not be victorious the last opportunity. That's all of college football. They're also fighting for bowl eligibility. That's a huge accomplishment or achievement that they're trying to get. So it's going to be a challenge. On the flip side, we got a lot to fight for. Obviously, we're in a position where every game matters, every play matters. The players had a players-only meeting yesterday, which I hope they didn't decide to revolt or go union strike. But they came out to practice Monday and they had a different look in their eye. Hopefully we can maximize that. And again, obviously Monday is Monday. We got to be great today and throughout the week. But they understand the importance of this game. This is the most important game on our schedule, and that's not just coach talk. That's because of where we are and what we're trying to accomplish this week. We've got to go out and play really well. They respect ODU. Obviously, we've got a lot of crossover between ODU and our roster. A lot of our guys are extremely close, connected with some of the players, the area. Obviously, myself and Coach Ronnie have a very unique connection. They know what they're getting into. They have a lot of respect for how they play. They have a lot of respect for their players. So it's going to be a challenge. They understand that. Ultimately, we got to practice really, really well today. That's all we can control, and try to maximize the amount of time we have today as best we can.
Coach Huff, highlights from his presser earlier in the afternoon. We'll get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Good day for Marshall basketball, and we got a couple of schedules that are out. We'll talk about it when we continue with this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Now at Menards, save big money on everything to update your home. Easily create your dream kitchen with Clearview Cabinetry. With so many styles to choose from, you'll be sure to find plenty of options that you will love. Start your project today and save big on Clearview Cabinetry. Visit Menards.com to view our entire selection of Clearview cabinets today. Plus, check out the weekly flyer for many other great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. And in Wayne, Vicky Tabor, 304-272-5149.
Hey, Lex, I got a question for you about our friends over at K&B Pest Control.
Shoot.
Do you think they'll eliminate my mother-in-law?
I think so.
She's in the house, kind of pesky.
From what I understand, they'll kill for your business, so you might want to have a talk.
No, these guys are great, man. Locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the tri-state area. Free estimates, highly skilled staff. There's specialized training and inspections and solutions. So no matter what's going on, they'll figure it out. They'll find out where these pests are coming from, and they will eliminate them.
Yep, and you can even do comparisons with their Facebook page. They got real pest pics. This is when the critters start coming out, Terrence. So if you're seeing problems like they have on their Facebook page, call 304-523-4281.
Go ahead and ask for Patrick or Becca. They will hook you up. We promise you. It's knbpestcontrol.com. Go ahead and hit them up online as well. K&B Pest Control, they will kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
97.9 The River is getting ready to celebrate the holiday season with your favorite Christmas music. Starting the day after Thanksgiving, tune in to The River for a festive mix of classic Christmas tunes. From then through Christmas Day, The River will provide the soundtrack to your holiday season. Santa and his elves tune in to The River online at 979theriver.com, and you can too. Christmas on The River is presented by Schmidt's Family Restaurant Group, Huntington Mall, Clark's Pump and Shop, and the Woodlands Retirement Community.
It's easier than you think for pests to threaten your family's health. Ticks, which spread dangerous diseases, hide in tall grasses and even on your pets. Rodents easily invade your home, contaminate food, and can carry more than 35 diseases. Mosquitoes, which breed in standing water, transmit many diseases. Get the facts you need to protect your family at pestworld.org. It's that easy. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to this Tuesday edition of the show. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. More happening today than just the State Supreme Court of Appeals ruling in favor of the WVSSAC. We got some good news from Marshall basketball. Let's start there, as Nate Martin had himself a couple of games, didn't he? Averaged over 20 points and 7 rebounds a contest. Well, he was named the Sun Belt Men's Basketball Player of the Week. Also shot 77.8% from the field in those wins over Southern Indiana and Bellarmine. He drained what only can be described as a shot we've all been waiting for. 2 3-pointers. The very first 2 3-pointers of his career. He had 18 points and 5 rebounds in the victory over the Screaming Eagles on Monday. And then he had 23 points and 9 rebounds. Almost had a double-double there. This was the game against Bellarmine. He was 9 for 11. That's over 80% from the field. So now what's the Herd doing? Getting set to travel to 6th-ranked Purdue. High noon. Heading up to West Lafayette, Indiana. So congratulations for Nate Martin. That's his first weekly award of the year. We've got softball and baseball schedules. Those are out. Softball we'll highlight a little bit later on. Baseball I want to highlight now because Marshall's going to Hawaii. Opening up the season at Hawaii. I didn't have that on my bingo card. Hey, the Herd's going to open up the season playing baseball at Hawaii. What the recruiting pitch might have been. Like, hey, look, you come play for the Herd, we'll take you places. They are going to be at Hawaii for a 4-game series, and then they're going to turn right around and go to Georgia Tech for a 4-game series, and this is February. Before they start things out at home against Fairleigh Dickinson, they've got contests at home against Ohio, Bradley, Central Michigan, Eastern Kentucky. I'm sorry, Eastern Kentucky's on the road. I apologize there. James Madison's at home, obviously. West Virginia. April's when they face off against Eastern Kentucky at home. They've got home matches with Southern Miss in April, App State, the Georgia Southerns in May. Looking at the schedule over right now. So let's go back to that for a second. Hawaii. We're talking about Hawaii. Who even came up with that? I'm going to give them credit for that. That's pretty good. I wonder if I can go on that trip. Can I go? Can I? I'd like to go cover Marshall baseball in Hawaii, please. That's fantastic. So it's a pretty good schedule. That's a pretty good schedule to look at. So the Mountaineers are on the schedule in April. Also, they're playing them in March as well. Good stuff all around for everyone. And then the softball schedule's out, as I alluded to. And so you look at the softball schedule. I had some good opponents on this thing. You know, you got Kentucky's on this thing. They're playing. They got Liberty. They're going to be in the Clearwater Invitational in February. That's Texas Tech, Missouri, Iowa's in this thing. Southern Miss, Clemson tournament, Oklahoma tournament. They've got, of course, the Marshall March Madness home tournament. They also have Radford on the schedule. Just looking it over right now. So some good matchups. All those schedules are out. So instead of me reading them all to you in its entirety, you can check out the website, herdzone.com, for all of that. College basketball tonight. 9th-ranked Kentucky will play host to Lipscomb. That's coming up on our sister station, Cat Sports from 93.3 and 1340. You've got 21st-ranked Ohio State playing host to Evansville tonight at 7. The 13th-ranked Mountaineer women will play host to Bowling Green tonight at 7 o'clock. We've got Marshall Inside Basketball coming up as well. That's going to be at 7:05. You can listen to that right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and on 93.7 The Dog. So it's your weekly look inside Herd Basketball with both Cornelius Jackson and Julie Folk. So you'll find out what the men and women are doing for this week. Should be an interesting show. You can catch that coming up here after the top of the next hour here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We've got the statewide sports line coming up, and those guys will have more coverage on what's happening with the West Virginia high school playoffs. We'll probably have some more details at this point, as we've just found out as we took the airwaves about 40-some minutes ago, that the WVSSAC will be able to hold its playoff as originally designed. The State Supreme Court of Appeals ruling in favor of the WVSSAC. So Huntington High, for those of you following at home, will be the number 5 seed, get one game at least, and we'll see how it shakes out. Cabell Midland will be the 14 seed and travel to Jefferson. Spring Valley will play host to East Fairmont. All those games right here on multiple Kindred Communications stations, including, of course, the Highlanders right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. That's it. It's been a long day. Thanks for tuning in and finishing it out with me. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.